Hey guys, you're here with Dr. Molly,
And Todd Rowland.
and we're bringing you the Pawcast, the business side of the pet industries. And today we're here with Malinda Malone, the founder of the Frontline Coalition, who works with CPR First Aid and Wellness in our pet community. Hey, Malinda, thank you for being here with us today.
Hey there. Thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, we're excited to share everything you do and everything you offer to the pet community with everyone. So if you want to just get started and kind of give us a little rundown of what the Frontline Coalition is and how that came to be.
Sure. The Frontline Coalition I started it in 2021 and just decided to put all my eggs in one basket, so to say, under one umbrella. So that way I could, do all my teaching through it. But I've been teaching pet first aid CPR since 2009. But I just decided to do the Frontline Coalition to add, the pet first aid CPR. And I also teach human CPR first aid and a bunch of other things too, health and safety for humans and for pets. And the reason why I did it is because, it's so important to have that training for pet parents and pet professionals out there, because it's unfortunate. A lot of people don't even know that first aid CPR for pets is out there. It's available. And I go to events and I tell people, they're like, oh my God, I've never heard of that before. That's awesome. And especially pet parents, because they, don't have anything to go off of,
No.
so just with their veterinarian. So it's important to have that out there for people just in case.
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree. I know I was fortunate enough to find you and take your class at Atlanta Pet Fair several years ago. And I've experienced kind of how you present your classes as hands-on, scenario-based. There was just a wealth of information on everything from basic scratches to actually getting hands on the demo dogs, doing the CPR. And I came out of there feeling pretty prepared that if I ever came across that emergency situation, I could handle it. And then I've taken like a refresher course this year with another organization, and it was very compact, a lot of information. There was no hands-on portion. So it was a good refresher for me, but had it been my first time experiencing a class like that, I don't think I would be as confident or prepared.
No, it was my first time taking a safety class, and it was very informative. I'm not knocking it all. Any education to me is good. It just
Right.
Molly had talked so much about your guys' class back in Atlanta. I thought it was coming in and we're going to learn all this stuff, and we got a good overview. But when I left there, I did get some knowledge, but did I feel prepared in the situation? No, I didn't. But it did have me wanting to learn more. So that was a good part of that class. So
Yeah.
we were happy when we ran into you in Colorado a month ago, and we're just excited to. Molly was definitely excited to see you
Yeah,
guys.
I for the life of me could not find my schedule or my notes or anything here recently, as I've been kind of thinking about the CPR first aid, because before running into you again, we had kind of discussed me going to become an instructor, and I remember you mentioning that was something you offered, and
Right.
so it just was a stroke of fate that we came across you at the Rocky Mountain, and we're looking to get that instructor certification. So that's something too that I think is great. That gives business owners and just pet professionals, not even just groomers, but like trainers and vet professionals and all kind of things, that opportunity. And I know you work, I think the instructor one I'm doing is actually where you guys are working with like police dogs and stuff too, and doing their certification. So, I mean, it's not
Right.
grooming.
Right. No, it's going to be more on the pet professional side. My Krista Curvers, who I teach with, she's the other instructor that you met in Colorado. This is through her other business that she works for, and they
Okay.
deal a lot with animal control and the police and the police dogs. And that's the community that we're going to be going to in November in Tennessee. So that's going to be very exciting. I'm really definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, definitely. So how are you still going to some of these grooming expos and actually doing your all-day certifications and things like that? Is there anywhere that we can kind of look for you coming up in the next year or so where people may have an opportunity to get that?
Actually, I travel twice a year to Oklahoma City. I'm going to
Okay.
be going there next month, actually. And I go there to teach an instructor class twice a year, and also teach the 8-hour class, the Pet Saver class, the first day. So I'll be doing that. I travel to California. I go to Nevada. I'm actually leaving to go to Albuquerque, New Mexico tomorrow morning to teach 4 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Monday, the class for pet parent, anybody who wants to take it. So I travel all over the place. And if somebody wants me to come somewhere, I'll do my best to go. All I have to need is to have a facility to teach at. And if people have tables, chairs, and a monitor for me to use, that's awesome. If not, I have all that stuff and I can bring it with me. And I just throw it all in my pickup truck and I go.
Okay, that's awesome. Good to know. So you talk a little bit about emergency preparedness and stuff. What is it that you think, at a minimum, either people at home in their pet emergency kits or people, pet professionals should have? That's something I'd had quick stop and some bandage wrap, but you're thorough going over what actually a pet first aid you should have and things that allowed us to put those together and put them in all our units. A lot of times our team works solo one-on-one, so having that easily accessible was something that they need that we hadn't really thought about. So what would you recommend someone wanting to put together something like that would have in it?
For first aid kits, for groomers, boarding facilities, and things like that, that needs to be a lot more in depth of a kit. Gauze pads, gauze rolls, vet wrap. I always, in my kits that I put together and sell at my classes, I actually also put in there paint stir sticks and tongue depressors to use as splints in case there's a broken limb, because you need to stabilize it somehow. I also put in a small bottle of saline solution to rinse out the eyes, rinse out wounds if needed. I put in their syringes, 3 different sizes of syringes. That way, if they need to administer hydrogen peroxide, they can have that. Regular tape. Actually asked somebody here putting my kits together for me today to take to Albuquerque tomorrow. I'm taking about 50 of them with me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, everything that you can think of that you would have for people, it's the same for the pets. It really is. And then also too, you have your disaster preparedness, which you also mentioned. You have to think about that. You have to have a go bag for your pets too. Like where you guys are at in Tennessee, you have tornadoes and all sorts of stuff, scary stuff like that. And you have to be able, if you have to get out of your home, the police are banging on your door, you got to get out now. You don't want to be running around your house trying to pick up stuff that you're going to need for yourself and for your pets to live out of for 7 to 10 days, possibly. So you need to have those kits already put together, all ready to go, and have leashes, collars, collapsible bowls, food, blankets, extra information on vaccine records, extra tags. I mean, whatever that animal, that dog or cat's going to need, you're going to need to, and especially for cats, you're going to need to have some sort of a carry bag to put the cat inside of, or even for small dogs, a portable litter box, a little litter tray with some litter for them and a scooper. So you have to think about all these things that you may need for your pets, to be able to live, in a tent or in a hotel, for a period of time. So, and being prepared is just so critical.
Well, and of course, our pets are our kids. And so if the storm's coming, we make sure that we have access to them and they're not escaping or something in case something was happening. Because you hear the horror stories where, the little pup got scared and ran away and they couldn't find it for 3 days and things like that. So, I mean, if we're hunkering down, our pets are hunkering down with us. And so a lot of people, forget to bring it inside or think it's in the doghouse, it'll be okay. But then, they're the people in the news that can't find their animal. So,
yeah, you have to have a plan for them too. And I agree. My 4 dogs, they're my kids too. I don't have the 2-legged ones. I got the 4-legged furry ones. So, whatever I have to do for them to keep them safe, I'm going to do it. So I make sure they have everything that they need.
Yeah. So, what are kind of the difference between the hands-on and the scenario-based learning? Like if someone's trying to decide what class to take, What, I guess maybe not even the difference, but just go a little bit into how that's beneficial and why you've incorporated that into your training.
Yeah, I think it's very important. You have, so many different companies out there teaching pet first aid and CPR from, from one end of the spectrum to another. You've got your online training that you can, take for 2 hours and get certified and get a certificate,
Right.
But all you're doing is watching videos or maybe doing a Zoom or maybe practicing it with a class on Zoom. But, I don't believe in that. And the company I work with, Pet Tech, I teach their curriculum. That is not what we do. We have to have the students there in the class. You have to be sitting in there, and we do the hands-on practicing. And when I have my students in there, they like practicing CPR. They do it until I feel comfortable that they fully understand that every single time they get their hands in the right position, they know what they're doing, they know how the 30 breaths to 30 compressions to 2 breaths, I make sure that they know all this stuff before the end of the class. And so if they stay a little longer, that's the way it goes. So we have them practice, the CPR, practice wrapping up for a bleeding incident, choking. I mean, all these things. It's the only way you're going to learn is by doing it. Actually, with our curriculum, you're learning 3 different ways. You're reading the book and also looking at the PowerPoint presentation. You're listening to me talk, and then you're actually doing the physical hands-on. So having all 3 ways of learning at the same time is very important.
I agree. That also hits, not everyone learns the same. So when you're
Right.
hitting the audio, the visual, the hands-on, it's just really reinforcing over and over. But whichever learning style is going to work for you, I think, you've got it covered. You've got it down on there. So
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
great. Is there anything that you could recommend or that you think would just be a good piece of advice if someone's going to just do the basics or the minimal, whether it's taking a class or being prepared at home? Like, what's just a little piece of information that everyone can do?
I think for me personally, bare minimum, take a class. Take the, because we offer a 6-hour class and we offer the 8-hour class. Make that commitment, because you have to remember, these are our kids. All 3 of us have said that.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you make that commitment to your 2-legged child to
Yeah.
learn first aid CPR? What's the difference for our pets? As far as I'm concerned, there is absolutely no difference. And I personally feel that is critical that pet parents and pet professionals know this. I mean, it's so funny when at the Rocky Mountain Groom Expo, all these groomers were taking, how to cut a teddy bear face and how to do this for the groom and how to do that for the groom.
Yeah.
And I said in the class, I said, this pet first aid CPR class is the most important class you can take at this expo, because you are learning how to save the life of your own pet or your client's pet. What is more important?
Yeah. And we all
Really?
hope that day will never come. But
Right.
realistically, I mean, when you're around pets for your entire life, inside and outside of work, at home, like, you're going to come across that, even
Oh, yeah.
may just be at the dog park hanging out and something comes up.
Yeah.
And so I agree. I mean, I think, and like you were saying earlier, a lot of people just don't even realize this is necessarily an option. So hopefully the more we can get this out and the more people talk about it, and the more people share it, and the more people we can get instructed, like, that will change. And it will be not just pet professionals that know how to do this, but the pet parents as well.
Right. And unfortunately, there is no legislation anywhere in the country that has pet professionals have to be certified. And I was very impressed with Colorado with what their legislation is they are very strict on a lot of these things for groomers and boarding and all these places, but there is nothing that's in their writings that says they have to be trained in pet first aid CPR. Why not? People who work in daycares and schools, they have to know it.
That's true.
What is, I keep saying, what is the difference? Yeah, people think, oh, it's just dogs and cats. No, not anymore.
Their family.
Yeah.
They're family. The trends have changed.
Yeah.
They're in our wills. They're in our, trust. People fight over them on divorces.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually I truly feel that our pets are going to be, legally sentient beings.
Yes.
That's got to come one of
Yeah.
these days. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
So
It would be nice if shelters could offer something like this to a potential adoptees, because, especially if they've never had pets before and they're adopting a pet, it
Right.
should be part of the program, even if they can't do a full 6 or 8 hours, but they should be incorporating something as a requirement.
yep, I definitely agree.
So if someone is just, let's just say someone works somewhere and they don't offer this or even promote it, and they're just a kennel tech or a groomer or something, where can they find you at? I mean, I said we have your phone number, your website out, but is there a Facebook page? I mean, but where can people find you at the easiest?
I have my Facebook page, the Frontline Coalition, my website, thefrontlinecoalition.com. I have, if somebody wants to email me, it's the Frontline Coalition 2021 at Gmail. My phone number. I mean, there's lots of ways people can get a hold of me.
And we're going to share them all in the show notes as
Yeah.
well. But we just want to make sure it's out there for people to get a hold of you, because we think it's extremely important.
Yeah. And I share a lot of my business stuff on my personal page too. And I respond to people on my personal page, so, I mean, because that's my whole life is taking care of the pets. I groom pets. That's one of my other job right now.
Yeah.
Before
What are your hobbies?
eventually, I've been a groomer now for 25 years, and so eventually I'm going to stop doing that and just do the teaching and traveling. That's my goal. That's my retirement.
Yeah.
Well, it's needed. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely needed because it's just not out there, and I enjoy the traveling and going to meeting new people and helping them out, and helping businesses with whatever they may need. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on and sharing a little bit of what you do and why it's so important. We cannot say enough how important what you do is, and thank you for doing it. And we will hopefully help get this out there to a few more pet parents out there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me on. It's been great.
Yeah, thanks. Have a great day.
Thanks.